My next guest is a media strategist who helps entrepreneurs learn to get visible in a big way. Christy Laverty, welcome to What She Said.
Thanks for having me.
I am so excited about this because this is something I'm passionate about. I believe women are not going into the spotlight enough. They're holding themselves back.
Yeah, and I always feel weird saying that it is predominantly a woman thing, but it's true. We have this weird sense sometimes that we have to kind of stay back. We have trouble tooting our own horn, kind of owning our own space. And the media spotlight is big. And stepping in sometimes, I think women feel they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to seem too overconfident. They don't want to kind of step over people. And so that kind of keeps them kind of in the background a little bit.
Right.
Which is weird if
you were
own
telling,
a business.
well, we were talking about this beforehand, before we got in here, and you were saying that, when you used to work, behind the scenes producing TV shows and things like that, radio shows, that you could always find a male expert who would be willing to step in. Yeah. But, women would go, well, my hair's not right. I don't have anything to wear.
Yeah, those were things that were really common. And, you would hear things like, well, I don't know if I can be camera ready in that amount of time. Another thing that I often heard was, well, I have the kids. I don't know what to do with my kids.
Right.
And, it's a really strange thing because I'll be honest to say in the 20 plus years, I never heard a man ever say that. And it's not to fault women, but I think sometimes you have to I'd have to talk them into it and saying, well, this is a radio interview and I need less than 5 minutes. Just send the kids out of a room, and it's okay because this isn't live and we can edit anything out that, that if there were kids in the background. And I think it's just that women, there are other priorities. I get it. I'm a mom. And so you're always putting other things before stepping into that spotlight.
But when you become an entrepreneur, that is different. You need to be able to step into the spotlight to control the narrative and to control the media. When I started 10 years ago as in a school supply business, and one of the first things I learned was that I had to be very comfortable in front of a camera.
Well, and it's a weird thing because when we go out in the day, you get up in the morning, you take the kids. I mean, so many of us will drive kids in pajamas. I do it. Lots of people are seeing me on the way to the school with my hair not so perfect. We get out of the car, we go to the grocery store, our hair isn't freshly done.
Oh, that's the moment I see everybody I know.
But we don't think about, we don't get worried about stepping out into public all day long and thousands of people are seeing us. And then all of a sudden somebody asks you to do, a TV interview and you're like thinking about, oh, I don't have the right outfit and, oh, my hair's not done and, oh, I don't have perfect nails. And I'm like, well, you're not, unless you're going on specifically to talk about that part of it, you're a stylist, you do makeup. People really don't care that much. Mm-hmm. It seems mean almost to say they don't care, but they're tuning in, and that journalist is talking to you for your expertise, the knowledge that you know about your business or a particular theme or issue or niche. It's not for, that outfit, the hair. People don't really care that much about it, to be honest with you.
Right. I agree.
I think we look too much, we focus too much on those things that we maybe feel are negative. And again, that goes into how women see themselves, how we feel about our bodies, how we feel about putting ourselves out there. And you really just need to kind of get out of your own head, especially if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a solo entrepreneur. You need every advantage possible to tell people about what you do.
Yeah. You have to get loud and you have to get visible. So you offer coaching to female entrepreneurs specifically. And so what are sort of the top tips you tell them?
It usually starts out with mindset, and it's a weird thing because people are like, yeah, I'm good. Well, when you start to talk about stepping out, you start to hear some language that's very common with women. I'm only one person. I'm just a solo entrepreneur. And those are two words that I really caution anyone to use in those terms because it keeps you small. It really makes you think of yourself less than, that you're not enough. And I think the challenge is in terms of media, they don't really care how big your business is unless you're trying to pitch a story about, running a business with 500 employees. If you don't have 500 employees, it doesn't make sense. But in the 20 plus years that I worked in the media, I never asked anybody, how many employees do you have? Are you just one person? Because what I was really looking for is the voice, the perspective, the
expertise.
The expertise. What are you bringing to the table in terms of the story? How can you help me advance the story? How can you help me, give more information to my audience? So the mindset is a big part of
So even
that.
as a small business owner needs to think like a big business owner, act like a big business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as a business. Really, like regardless of the size, you are a business. And if you've pitched the media and I'm a producer and I'm interested, then, something about what you've told me is resonating. And, you got to kind of set aside those, bits about what you feel are inadequate or you're not enough. Because we all feel that. Mm-hmm. Everyone does. But, you have to really step out of that comfort zone. And part of the problem with a lot of entrepreneurs is, they think, oh, well, I'm not getting the media attention, and they see a competitor that's showing up all the time. And usually it's one simple thing is that person's asking and you're not.
Right.
Because it's as simple as that. If the media doesn't know about you, how can they, come to you? And that, goes into the pitching, but also, social media. Are you putting yourself out there? Do you have sort of that online footprint? Are you telling people about yourself?
Are you networking?
Yeah. It's a huge part of it, letting people know what it is that you do. And that can be a challenge for some people. They haven't worked on that sort of, I don't know if it's elevator pitch, but really kind of getting that message.
So you help women define that message then, I guess, build their elevator pitch?
Yeah, and really figure out what it is that they're trying to do in terms of story, letting people know. I think it's important to think about goals. What are you trying to achieve? But also knowing that you do have something worth sharing, that you do have knowledge that can help people. Because in terms of media, that's really what they're doing. They're entertaining, they're enlightening, they're informing people. So how can you, bring what you do onto that platform?
Yeah, it's about delivering a good story.
Yeah.
Right? No listener wants to sit and listen to a commercial, but they will sit and listen to your story.
Yeah.
So if you have a great story, that's what you need to bring to the table.
Yeah, and that can be the hardest part for entrepreneurs to kind of get out of that the space, because they're quick to pay for an ad, not realizing that media part is earned, but nobody wants to hear the hard sell. It's really about the information. Like they're tuning in on a morning show or reading a magazine to learn something, to help them live better lives, to enrich their lives, their families, whatever it is. So it can be hard for people to see the value because you're not sort of stepping in right away and saying, hey, buy my stuff.
Right. So you almost have to go into it with the mindset of what's in it for the listener, not what's in it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always about being of service to the journalist and being of service to the audience, and not doing that hard sell, but understanding that, they have a voice, they've got something worth sharing, and you really have to kind of step out and tell people about it.
Okay. So if people want to connect with you, where can they go?
So I am on all the platforms. Website is ChristyALaverty.com. And on all the platforms, I'm Christy A. Laverty. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Okay, so you are there to help women get visible in a big way, and they should look you up for some of your coaching. Do you do workshops? I
do workshops, yeah. I've done some online workshops, some in-person workshops, small group. It's always good to have a small group to kind of feed off each other, to ask each other questions, and to, have somebody ask a question. It can be hard when you feel like you don't know. And when you're with a group, somebody else can ask the question. You're not as afraid to sort of step out and say, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Amazing. I think I'm going to do one of your workshops because you can never have enough skills in this area.
True.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Christy. And we'll be back with you again another time, I'm sure.
I hope so.